Hopefully he's only out for a couple weeks with John Wall's knee injury. And it certainly doesn't help that you guys got to go on the road for 7 out of 8 with your best player. So talk about the injury. What do you expect there? And then how does that kind of change things that you're doing?
Well, his knee's been bothering him for, a couple of weeks. We had it drained, and we set out a game, and we set out some shoot-arounds, and it's inflamed and irritated, so the doctors thought the best next step would be to calm down. And
what does that do? You know? What does the PRP actually do?
I have no clue, but I hear it. I hear it. It's really good for you, and it works. So
Paging Dr. Brooks.
So was he when he was running? Was he limping, or was it just painful?
It was just swollen. You know what? But he played. The crazy thing is, he played well in Milwaukee.
31, right?
The 2 nights later in Charlotte, he had 31.
Right.
And he played well. It's just swelled up on him, and became irritated. So this is the best way. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks, that he will be back on the court playing and going through the rest of the season. But definitely going to be a tough stretch for us. But I'm disappointed in the last couple of games. We had a chance to win both games, one without John. I thought we made so many mistakes down the stretch of the game and gave him so many easy buckets. And
right.
But it's going to be a challenge for us. But I think our guys, being around our guys, I know they know that we're not as good without John. That's an obvious statement, but we can still win games, and we still have to compete for 48 minutes to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be frustrated. I don't have it in front of me, but I remember there was a stretch there, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 games where you guys were really hitting your stride defensively. I think you gave up under 100, maybe 4 or 5, and then you had half, and then the one, obviously where you gave up 120, you want to just pull your hair out. I mean, you must have been just going absolutely nuts during that.
Yes, that we had a stretch of games. We were just really starting to play well. Keith was starting to come back, and we were starting to, our offense was clicking, our defense was right on point. But we just got to go back and get better and come back and do it again. I think just looking at the season, it's almost 20 games or a quarter way.
Yeah.
We're in just about every game. We're having trouble, and this is last year. We're having trouble closing out games. And I take responsibility, but I think we have to be more committed to getting stops in those last 5 minutes of games. And it's been an issue this year. And last year we didn't have that issue, but we're in every game. I think Cleveland's the only game that we didn't have a chance to really win that game at the end. But that's something to look at. And also another good part about it, there's a lot of teams with 6, 7, 8, 9 losses. They're all bunched up.
Oh yeah. A lot of competition in the conference this year. I'm curious, playing time decision. Somebody that I've been high on just watching as a fan is Mike Scott, and he's a guy who can hit threes. He could probably play stretch 4, even play the 5 for you at times. And I think he's had a couple DNPs of late. Why haven't we seen him the last couple games?
Well, I'm trying to get Jason some minutes, so I have to make that tough decision. I'm going to have to I think certain things we can do tonight. It's going to be a matchup for our bigs, because they got a big that he's a monster. He can, like I said, he can score outside on if you're going to put a bigger guy on him, and he or inside. But Mike Scott, I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with. Played very well. I know I didn't play him the last couple of games. The first time I did not play him, I wanted to go with a shorter rotation. I think that was against Milwaukee. I wanted to just, I wanted to go with the shorter rotation. But he's been terrific. I'm very impressed with his professionalism, his work ethic. He comes in, even when I didn't play him. He didn't. Obviously, you don't want guys that have attitudes if they don't play, because it's about the team and sacrifice. He had there's not even a question. I need to go talk to him. He was business as usual. Came in the next day and put his work in.
But is that something where, I'm just wondering, is that something where you have a season-long perspective? Because I know, just kind of watching, just thinking about it, I was like, well, you kind of know what you have from Jason Smith. And maybe, early part of the season, you don't know necessarily what you have in Mike Scott. And you're thinking about down the road and playoffs, what rotation might be like. So you give Mike Scott more run, because there were several games where Jason Smith was getting no minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of both. You want to win the game, but you also want to know what you have down the road, because you want your I don't know if this is the right way to say it, you want your toolbox to be fully loaded with a lot of different pieces. And I think with Mike, he can play against a certain guy. I know who to play him against. I know what he does. With Jason, I can play him a certain way we need to play. I think it's going to help us in the long way. But, obviously when John comes back, we got more players that can play with John. John makes a lot of players really, really good.
Yes.
He gets you a lot of open shots. And with Mike and Jason, I think you can play them with John, and they've been playing with the minutes. I have to figure out how to weigh a few more minutes in just about every game.